Are you in a real relationship or are you just in a transactional one? How do we know how to break free from relationships that drain you versus nourish you? Your energy and your frequency attracts the kinds of people that you will also attract. You can have your business friends as long as it's mutually beneficial to the both of you. The younger generation, they don't even know how to make friends. Hello, Brave Table fam. Welcome to another episode of The Brave Table. I'm your host, Dr. Neeta, and this is your destination, your oasis to be all things just a little bit more brave in your actions, in your relationships, and in your life. And today, I have a question for you. Are you in a real relationship, aka friendship, or are you just in a transactional one? Let's break down the illusion of fake connections and uncover what truly builds deep and meaningful relationships in a world that is so obsessed with what can you do for me. In this episode, we're going to go into how to identify if your relationships are transactional, okay? If your business besties are only best friends on the interwebs and on Instagram, and why most people don't realize that they're in one, and how it's daunting that so many people think that they have friendships, but they're not actually really friends. And what's the hidden cost of social currency and networking culture on true connection? This is big. What real intimacy and vulnerability look like in friendships, partnerships, and family. And do you think that there has to be one type of friendship? Maybe there's more than the close-knit friends, and maybe some of us aren't meant to experience that. And then finally, breaking free from relationships that drain you versus relationships that nourish you. Let's get into it, loves. Oh my goodness. So being here in Dubai for the last almost 2 months has been wild and it's been eye-opening. And, people have said, hey, have you found your ground yet? And I'm like, absolutely. And I think what happens when you move to a different part of the world is that your sensor of, and your meter, your barometer, and maybe your intuitive hits become so much more loud when you're hanging out with people who are probably not the right crowd for you, or maybe they're just not in alignment. It's not good or bad, but they're just not in alignment. And I've just been having these experiences and these conversations with other baddies. And most of the people that I'm meeting now, especially in this stage and era of my life, I'm just loving, because guess what? They are as giving and open and deeply connected as I am. I wonder why. Because your energy and your frequency attracts the kinds of people that you will also attract. If you are looking for those business relationships, you will only have business relationships and nothing but business relationships. Now, I'm not knocking anybody who builds their connections from business. I know a lot of people that do, but I'd like to also say that those are also the same people that only have the majority of what a Pew Research study says, that 48% of Americans can only count on one hand how many close people that they have in their life, meaning that there is less than 5 people on their one hand that actually know them truly and deeply, or that they have meaningful connections with. How crazy is that? Where we are living in this world where we're more connected than ever, but we're so disconnected, or that we just think everything is transactional. Now, I don't know. Do you guys believe in that? Take a note in just your lives. How are you in the friendships in your lives? Do you feel like you can confide in 1 or 2 people? And I know I'm in my 40s now, and I am loving these deep, soulful connections. I'm still an extrovert, so I love meeting new people. I feel like, humanizing is something that I love doing, and I love creating community, and I love making people feel seen and heard and understood, and just hearing your stories when I meet you all. And because I think for the longest time, and there were times probably for me growing up where, I was bullied in certain circles. And, so much so in certain instances where I made a vow that I would never make other people feel discluded or excluded just because of what I felt. And I've experienced this in different ways where, it's like, you create your own table. And I think the people that do this subconsciously, they're also hurt people. So if any of you are experiencing this, don't feel that they're doing this on purpose. They might be, but you know what? They are also hurting, because I have met so many that, they're one way on the interwebs and they're another way in person. And it would be shocking, because these are some people that you know and love so, so well. And when the blinders are taken off, you see that it's just insecurity. And you see it's people that are just trying to fit in like we all once were and once are. So, are your relationships transactional? And why people don't realize that they are one. So if you are in your business building stage, I get it. And I remember in my 20s, and there were certain parts of me, in my 30s where I'm trying to prove myself, I'm switching careers, or I've left a certain situation and you're unsure of yourself. And I totally get that. And so I see some of the younger girlies that are going through this, and they only want to talk to you if you have something to offer them. And I know this, I see this in a lot of the circles, which is why we kind of left LA. That wasn't my vibe. I know that for some of you who love LA or are living in LA or in California, you may disagree. And while I still have some of my dearest besties to this day, they were intentional besties. They are the ones where that even if I'm in town for an hour, they will come to the airport and will greet me. These are people that are through and through like your ride or dies, no matter what. And I have a lot of them in LA. So not everyone is like this, but I do know that in certain circles, you will feel this way, especially if you're trying to, be in entertainment or in other avenues. It's kind of cutthroat, and not very many people make it out there for a lot of reasons. And what else would you expect? There's a lot of insecure baddies over there that are just trying to seek validation. It all comes from our own inherent self-worth. So then we go chasing for the people who are going to validate those insecurities out of us, right? And we keep going on the same cycle. And not too long ago, I actually was here, and there was quite a few events, but I just saw the same thing happening over again, where so many people have the same kind of insecurity, yet they want to be validated by a singular person. And it's interesting how far you will go, right? And I don't know if you've been following this Justin Baldoni case and Ryan Reynolds case, but apparently I was kind of so much in the tea about it, simply because I had my own bouts with narcissistic people in my life. I was, my ex was one. I was married, once before, and I had a very tumultuous ending with that person, and it reminded me of what Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are doing to Justin Baldoni, and how he's just kept so sovereign and so clear in who he is. And obviously, for those of you who are Deadpool fans, this is going to change your relationship with Deadpool or how you think about Blake Lively. And, you can do your own research, but the verdict is out. Justin Baldoni is a very spiritual man. I used to live in LA. And I would see him from afar with his family at the farmer's market in Playa Vista. Shout out if you ever listen to this. But he's got such a deep core center. And to be so nice and to be so giving, where you can see he gives to all of his relationships. And there are some people on the other side, like Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, who wanted to take. This guy was the director, producer, the actor of his main film. And these guys, because they had power, more money, more all of the things, more notoriety in Hollywood, they wanted to take, and went as far as making fun of him in his own movie on another film, Deadpool. And, just that elitist power grab, where then, of course, people fawn over these two A-list actors. I'm not really a fan of Hollywood, but I think a lot of people go into that because they are lacking the self-love that they need for themselves, right? And I can say so much more about that, but it brings me to, are we transactional in our relationships? Are we just trying to be friends with somebody because they're going to give you something? And is there a deeper meaning to that? Or are we just getting it all wrong? And I realized that coming here to Dubai, because I realized that this business relationships, it doesn't sit well in my stomach. It doesn't sit well in my gut at all. at all. In fact, I'm very opposed to it because I am a relational girly. I mean, the Brave Table is all about braving relationships, right? And so I go deep. But a lot of people I know are just not built that way. They either don't know how to have relationships, they don't know how to cultivate them, or they're modeling something because they're on the chase. They're on the chase for the next. And so they have to go to the next. So they will never build a strong foundation for friendship. They will never build a strong foundation of who's going to be there for you, your ride or dies when you're sick, when you're going through divorce, when you're going through a loneliness, a time in your life where you just need your core humans around you. Are those people going to be there? And can you count on one hand if you even have those kinds of people to support you? I say this because we are in a time of loneliness. We are in a time of deep disconnection. We are in a time where a lot of the younger generation, they don't even know how to make friends. They think that because somebody likes you, looks at your stories, and maybe comments on a few posts that they are your friends. I kid you not, millennials. This is what the Gen Zers are thinking. That, oh, they looked at my story, they wrote me a couple times, and they wrote on my DMs that we're friends now. Give me a break. I think we need to have a course. Should we have a course on Brave Table fam, like how to actually have meaningful and deep connections and relationships, how to build that? All right, so here's why most people don't realize they're in one. Because if it's mutually beneficial, then what's wrong with that? And are all relationships bad that are that way? Like I have business relationships that are just business. And I am one that I can make a lot of friends and go deep really fast. And a lot of people consider me their best friend. And I'm so grateful that I get to be that for a lot of people. But I think because I'm such a relational individual, that can actually happen. But for me, my core inner circle is very few. But if I let you in, then you're in. Then you're really in. And I think the transactional ones are, would you actually confide in them what's really going on personally with you? Or is this just a business, casual, transactional relationship? Do you hang out or do things other than business discussions, business chats, or, business dreams and desires? And you can have your business friends. That's totally cool. As long as it's mutually beneficial to the both of you, right? If one person is taking and not giving, then I don't know if it's a value added relationship for both sides. If it is a true business transactional relationship, then, again, that person might not be in your life for a very long time. They might just be in your life for that season. And I think it's important to note, not all of these relationships are bad. I have my own, sense to that. However, some people thrive on it, and some people build legacies and they build companies out of this. They might be one of the most loneliest people, which is why many billionaires, they might have all the money on the top. Guess what? They are the loneliest MFers because they're not prioritizing or watering their relationships. And I saw this meme from somebody that I really love, and I just love them so much. But I just didn't agree because it says, if you are building someone, the people closest to you are going to tell you they miss you. And I just thought that, wow, that's so sad that you will just prioritize building this company for the sake of success, monetary success, right? Business success, career success, over having more enriching, fulfilling lives. Because I don't know about you, but reading that book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, nowhere is it mentioned that monetary success, that they wish they would work more. Most of them wish they would have more fruitful and relationships with their families and friends and actually doing the things they love with them. So I don't know about that one, but I don't buy it. And the thing is when I came here, I realized that I felt home. I felt home in a way that I never felt before. And the fact that the people here, they don't do business like Americans. And I'm American, I can say it, where it's so much more transactional. They need to build a relationship. And if they don't like you, they will not do any sort of business with you. And that's just how it is here in the region. And I feel like a lot of those tendencies are very much Desi or Indian, Pakistani, even Asian in general. Like even as Filipinos, we have to like you before we do business with you. If there's no relationship outside of just talking business, I'm sorry, we're not going to go that deep and so far. And that, my friends, is real relationship building, because at the end of the day, if you aren't going to do business with that person, at least you're going to cheer them on. You're going to still ask about their children. You're going to ask about their passions, maybe their pets. But those are the things that really matter. That's real, true connection that's built. And I think how Americans get it all wrong while they're quite successful, but we can see on the other end, they're lonely, disconnected than ever before. And I haven't, experienced this so much here, but what I know here is people love to meet in person. They love to get a cup of coffee. They will go out of their way to come to your event. They will make sure that, because they value experiences more than just being online, more than just taking pictures and posting it online. They value the true connection of real in-person events and in-person discussions. And so what is the hidden cost in the social currency and networking? If it's just done to see how many business cards that you can get and how many emails that you can get afterwards, I mean, I don't know, is that true connection? Is somebody really going to stand out and remember you because of that? Or can it happen where it's 2 or 3 really deep, meaningful relationships that you nurture? And those get to grow as a result. And there are relationships that I've had for 10 years now that are different parts of the world that we're still chatting because of a seed that was planted, 5, 7, 10 years ago. Now that is beautiful. When we get into real intimacy and vulnerability, those are built on shared experiences, which is why I love taking some of my friends, my inner circle, away to experience trips together where we are able to go and travel. We are able to go and do something completely crazy and different and experience the world in a different way. And if you could do this with your business besties, great, because I have done it with my business friendships and some of those who are kind of in the same like-minded instance. Maybe we're all moms, or maybe we've all, done things together in a certain part of time or whatnot. But that's that real connection and vulnerability. Not just business transactions of, I'm going to introduce this resource to you and you're going to introduce this resource to me. And that's pretty much it. That's where the buck stops. I'm telling you, friends, it doesn't work in the long run. Whoever's sharing this information with you is lying, unless you want to, grow old, disconnected, and lonely and not have any friends. But sure, go ahead and do that. And the ones who do that, they're often the ones that have zero people in their lives that actually last the true test of time, because most people that come in their lives are transactional people. And we see this all the time. And so how do we know how to break free from relationships that drain you versus nourish you? Okay, well, if you want to be that bestie to somebody, how are you being in that relationship? Because are you also draining them? How are you showing up in that relationship? And if somebody is constantly, trauma dumping on you, only telling you about their stuff, but without reciprocating, without asking, hey, how's everything going for you? They're only coming to you when they have a problem. They are only calling you when they have an issue. But are they actually there for you when you need them? And notice your energy after you leave those relationships. Do you feel energized or do you feel drained at the end of them? Versus the relationships that nourish you. I was out the other night and I had such a crazy week. Everybody was sick. My husband was out of town. I was solo parenting. And it was nuts in every way. And one of the things that I just really was so admired, I had 3 girlfriends who reached out individually and they're like, what do you need? Is everything okay? I'm coming over. We're going to take the kids out. You don't do anything. You don't plan. We're just doing this. And it just felt so good to not have a plan, to just say yes to the plan. And we ended up going out. I hadn't drank in a whole year. As much as I did, by the way. But then when I came back home, I supported my liver and detoxed and all of the things. So that felt really good. But it felt so good to be cared for by a coven that really cares. and nourishes you. And even at, we were at this beach club and it was so beautiful, it was so fun. We were dancing, but we were also talking about what is birthing for you right now and what's also dying out for you. And I just thought, and I'll pass this on for you all to answer this question, but I think we also have seasons and states of relationships and different kinds of friendships. So, all in all, if you are in that season where you're like, Neeta, I'm business building, I've got to be networking and yes, transactional, but can you do it with a little bit more heart? Is my question for you. Because if there's anything that I've learned from being in the Middle East, is that they are some of the most kindest, warmest, treating you like family. And whether they do business with you or not, it's just pure love. Where I think the American mindset, and of course, this has, fostered us ahead in many ways. But again, on the other side of it, it's leaving us lonely, disconnected, fatter, sicker, and more than ever before. And so I don't know if that method is working. We're more burnt out. We have the highest rates of chronic disease than ever before. We have the highest rates of depression and anxiety and overwhelm, and we're not meeting people. And here, there is this sense of community. There is this sense of inclusion. There is this sense of, it's not what will I do for you? It's how can I support your greatest vision? And if our visions don't align, then, who is it that I can introduce you to? And if you are a transactional person here, you'll get eaten up and chewed out because people can see right through that. And that's what I've noticed. And it's been such a beautiful, just thing to witness how the cultures are so different. And we'll see what's the test of time. But I honestly think that there's so much that we can learn from our ancestors. And I'm so grateful that I was born and raised to a community that lived and really kind of had those values. And it's one of the reasons why I pour into the Brave Table so much. So with that, and if you are listening to this, if you are watching this on YouTube or iTunes or Spotify, wherever you are watching it, I would love if you took 2 seconds to go to YouTube. We're trying to grow our channel this year and we haven't paid much attention to it, but this year I said this is a year of YouTube for me. So if you can go ahead and subscribe, we are going to give away prizes. Once we hit to the 10,000 subs mark, we are almost there. And so if you leave a comment under this video, go to The Brave Table on YouTube and subscribe and like this video and comment brave, you will enter a chance to win some incredible prizes and we will ship everywhere around the world. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you are listening to this on iTunes or Spotify, please do the same thing. If you hit the like button, that helps us also get in the hands of more people that need to be more brave. And as always, you can also tag us at The Brave Table or Neeta Bhushan on Instagram. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.